Let's talk about Russia. Let's talk about Ukraine. This is the conscious hour. First of all, the lies. Remember the big lie October 7th was an unprovoked attack? Okay, great. Got that one. Remember when Zelensky, Russia attacked and Zelensky, the new president elect, he was the president and he was a comedian. And we did have a coup d'etat in 2014. The CIA took out the democratically elected president. It actually was very progressive for Ukraine. But, anyways, that's geopolitics because, Zelensky's a Zionist too. And what's the Zionists want to do? They want to expand everywhere, and they're using the puppet of Zelensky to do the little dirty tricks. So, no, I'm not a favor of Zelensky. He was a comedian, and we ignored history. We ignored all the agreements. There would be no further expansion of NATO. All Everything was committed that we would never do this, and look what happened, we did. And then people want to deny history. Well, you deny history and it comes back and slaps you right in the ass. So let's get on to the next part of this story. What's going to go on with Russia and Ukraine?
As well as Israel being complicit, we are ultimately complicit too. And we want it to happen. I served in an administration that wanted it to happen.
Yeah. Larry, NBC reported that Donald Trump has told agencies to share intelligence with the Zelensky administration to help guide long-range missile and drone strikes on Russia's energy infrastructure. This is the first time since Donald Trump took power they're talking about these, sharing the intelligence to attack Russia deep inside the territory. What is happening in terms of the conflict in Ukraine?
Well, they can share all the intelligence they want. What do they get? What's Ukraine going to fire? They don't have anything capable of achieving what they're talking about, that penetration deeper inside Russia. But President Putin was asked about this yesterday at Valdai, and again, he stayed very even keeled, didn't get upset, didn't get emotional about it. I think if it had been Medvedev asking him, he would have had some other spicier responses. But Putin acknowledged, says, basically, if the United States provides that intelligence and provides a Tomahawk missile, he says, we view that would fundamentally change our relationship with Washington. He didn't make any threats, but he just said it would. And he went on to say, look, we're capable of handling that threat. We'd shoot it down, but he said this would change the relationship with Washington. Lavrov had, in an earlier conversation, made it quite clear this would be considered an act of war. And these outlandish, I'll call that an outlandish statement, that's becoming more frequent and more outlandish with each passing week as the military situation on the ground worsens for Ukraine. And the Russians they're not letting up at all in their attack on the electrical infrastructure, the power grid of Ukraine. Ukraine is really going to be in a pretty desperate, grim situation in a month or so, more so than it ever has been during the course of this, now 2.5-year war, or 2 years, 8 months. So this is Putin acknowledges it's a reality, but he didn't get upset, and he didn't make any reverse threats to the United States. So, he's, they're hopeful that they can work out a deal with the United States, but if they don't, he's just sort of matter of fact, we're going to finish this militarily, and it'll be up to the U.S. and Europeans to pick up the wreckage.
What's really interesting about this? They call it the Tomahawk missile. The U.S. government. Tomahawks. We, the Zionists, that's who they were, who came to America. What did they do? They slaughtered hundreds of thousands of indigenous people. And now we use their name, tomahawk, as a weapon to kill with. Think about that, folks. We have a history that's really dark. It's not us, the people, it's our government. And Eisenhower warned us, beware of the military industrial complex. And my dad warned me because he made a comment. He says, those damn Jews always getting us in wars. And I didn't have a reference point at that time and as a young kid. I got upset with him. I said, Dad, that's rude calling him, you know. He said, no, it's a fact. And he just went on about life. So this reality check is something that we should have been taught in school. Had we been taught this in school, the real history of the United States, which Howard Zinn and Noam Chomsky all talked about who is the United States of America. Well, they aren't united anymore. The states aren't united. Oh no, look where we are. We got left-wing states, right-wing states, and then these states that must be communist because they're just a bunch of liberals and they just want to live peacefully. But you know, it's the irony. Every American wants the same thing, except we got caught up in politics. So do yourself a favor. Flush the word politics down the drain. When it comes to voting, flush your ballot, Democrat or Republican. Vote somebody who wants to end this old business model of constant wars and spending trillions of our tax dollars so corporations can make more profits. Greed the machine is prophecy, folks. It can destroy the world. This is the Conscious Hour. Thanks for tuning in. And that's it for tonight. We're going to put this one out, and this is on Russia, Ukraine.